Hello, it is Amanda from Flow, and I am going stir crazy with this quarantine. So I'm trying to make a bunch of videos. So I'm just gonna upload them all at once, and I'm gonna look really awkward because that's what I'm good at. And just gotta suck it up and deal with it. So I thought something to keep us all sane while we're in the house. I am gonna make paper flowers. A couple years ago, I had paper flowers up for the entire spring and summer in my front window in the shop, if you remember. It was like a castle and it was just covered. And there were trees and it was nice and it was really cute. And it's probably still on my Facebook page or my Google business page, and you can probably find it there. But I am trying something that I've never tried before. So that is going to be something that we are going to see if I can manage today. So this might be a big old fail. That's fine if it is. It's a learning experience. I've been doing a lot of research. I really want hanging wisteria. If you don't know what wisteria is, it's those really beautiful flowers that are they almost look like really pretty grapes, but it's all flowers that are hanging from vines and trees and stuff like that. I think wisteria is usually like a bush. And if you've ever seen the pictures online where there's like an archway and there's just a bunch of flowers that are dangling, that's wisteria. So I would love to make some wisteria. A lot of them are pinks and purples. I'm going to make some with blue and everything too, but I'm just going to work with purple for right now. I have never done this. I can't stress that enough. I've done research as to what I should do, and I took what they said, and I'm going to try something a little bit different. Again, I'm just hoping that it works. If it doesn't, I'll figure out something or some way to make it work. A lot of people online have used beads in between. I don't really have, I guess, enough of enough of the kind of bead that I would need in order to make as many as I want to make. And while I'm being stir crazy, I might as well get 1,000 of these done. I'm probably going to get 10 done at most because I'll get so tired of them. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is take one sheet of paper. This is actually printer paper that is colored. And this is what I find works best. But if you don't have this, you could use construction paper. It's just a little bit tougher to work with. If you only have white printer paper or even notebook paper, that's fine. That's all fine. You can color it with marker, you can paint it, you can color it with colored pencil or crayon. It doesn't matter. The whole point of doing any of this is to just have fun and to create and to feel productive and to fill the void that is the quarantine. So this is something that's super easy that you can even do with your kids, at least with the making the petals part. And I'll even make another video of regular flowers. The kids seem to have a little bit of a struggle with making the flower itself, putting it all together, but the petals and stuff they seem to be pretty good at, actually. So that's at least the students that I've worked with. So anyway, I'm taking my one sheet of paper. I don't need huge petals, but I'm going to show you that I have a few made with a different color purple. And this is what my main goal is. So what I'm hoping would happen is that whenever I go to sew these, that I have them so perfectly offset that they will dangle in a way that will kind of create, I don't know, you can't even really see this, but we're going to see if it works. So these are the petals. They aren't very big. They're about the size of once they're folded together, they're about the size of a 50-cent piece. And I'm just going to move these out of my way. All right. Okay. So the way that I do that, you can fold this down as much as you want. Sorry, I should have been clear with all the things that you need. A piece of paper, a pair of scissors, and a glue stick. That's it. Well, for at least making the petals. Then I'm going to use a piece of string and a needle to sew it all together. Again, that's if it works. All right, so I'm going to fold this down. I usually like to fold it down to, I don't know, a place where I don't have to make a whole bunch of cuts because the cutting part is kind of time consuming once you get to a certain point. So I folded it twice in half, hamburger both times. And I'm maybe going to fold it, let's see here. I'm going to fold it one more time. So hamburger folds 3 times down. This is going to make it a little bit tougher to cut. You don't have to fold it this far. I do this more so that I can tell myself that I can get 2 petals or 2 stacks of petals out of this. Now I'm still working on bigger petals here. I'll need another piece of paper to work on smaller petals because it is a tapered type of flower. And so I want to make it smaller and smaller as I get down to the bottom. So for this right now, there's probably, I think there would be about 8 layers of paper in there, something like that. I'm going to just cut this right down the middle so it's easier for me to work with. Watch yourself when you're cutting, please. I've had people cut themselves with scissors and I don't like it. It's not good. It inspired me to up my first aid kit game when I didn't have enough proper stuff to use. Alright, I am cutting, what I'm doing right now is the parts that were folded, I'm just kind of cutting them so I don't have to cut them later. It's okay if you don't cut them now. So I am starting on the side that is open, not the folded side, and I am going to cut, I'll draw a line on there so that you kind of get the idea of what I'm cutting here. You don't have to make this perfect, you don't have to be an artist for this at all. That's the nice thing about making these flowers. I am just going to draw basically a giant like loop. That's it. It doesn't have to be perfect. If you want, you can make it have a crazy edge. I'm trying to keep this simple. Nobody's going to look at the super details. All right. So this is the line that I'm going to cut on. I'm cutting through all these. Again, you don't have to go through 8 sheets of paper. It's not the easiest thing in the world for everybody. Do it whatever your pace is. I'm just going to do this here. Just cut up and around. I don't even care that the pencil marks are still on there. If you do want to cut those little curves and stuff, I think that it adds to it. So that's also the nice thing. It doesn't have to be a perfect cut. It doesn't have to be a perfect shape. It doesn't have to be a straight line. That's all the bonuses that come with this. All right. So now that we have these cut, I'm trying to stack them together pretty tightly. And I'm going to cut about a 1/2 inch line right up the center there. So if you can see that right there, maybe it's like 1/2 inch, 1 centimeter, whatever. Okay, so I'm going to set aside these other things because I just want you to see what we do with each of these petals. Now, with the ones that I just showed you, I did leave them in a stack and I curled back. I pushed my thumb in the middle while curling back the top. So, or both thumbs in the middle, I should say. So I made this like circular kind of thing almost, so that it gives me this lip of like a petal lift a little bit. All right, so we have a whole bunch of these now. We have all these petals and we have to glue all of these petals. And that is why we put that slit right in the middle. So just taking any of them, take my glue stick. This is from the Dollar Tree. It does not have to be fancy. And I'm going to glue on just one edge of that. It does get messy, believe it or not. I'm sure you believe it, it's fine. After I do that, I got glue on one side of this. I'm going to take the side that's not glued and I'm going to fold it over top of that. So I think the best way to do that is kind of fold them both, fold one up and then bring this up sideways and fold it over, if that is the easiest way to understand it. Basically, you're just trying to overlap one piece of paper with the other. That way you can have more of a 3D shape. You can see that fold that I had in there didn't stay, but you can go back and put it back in there if you want. It's not a necessity. I don't think anybody's going to be like, oh my God, you forgot to do the fold. Nobody cares. All right, so I'm going to do that to the rest of these, and then I'm going to go and work on smaller and smaller ones, and yeah. Okay, so I know that I said that you needed to use 2 sheets of paper, and I'm actually going to try it with just 1. So this was the cut that I just made, and I got these 8 lovely pieces from, wait, is there 8? Yeah, there's 8. All right, so I decided to use the other half of that. This was folding it 3 times, remember. I decided to use the other half where I cut this piece out from here, and this piece I cut from there. Trying to be efficient here, so you don't need a whole lot of equipment. And I think this is going to work out just fine. And by that, I mean I have no idea. So, same thing. I cut those hoops, if you will. And I cut the slit up there. So you don't want to cut like the whole way up. You just want to cut enough that you can glue it and fold it over. So I'll show you one of each, and then I will kind of hurry my way through this so that you can see the rest of it and not sit around watching me glue stuff for a half hour. Alright, so again, I'm just folding it over. Now, obviously I didn't fold that. You can still go and fold that edge of the petal if you want. Again, it's not a requirement, not a big deal. Let me do that one more time since I did that pretty quickly. Just in case you didn't see it the first 2 times. Again, I'm just gluing one side of that and I fold it over. Alright, so the smallest one here, obviously I'm going to do the same thing too. Just trying to keep the glue as kind of not getting everywhere as possible, but it's gonna happen. So if you're working on a surface that you don't want getting messy, put another piece of paper down, put newspaper down, put a piece of saran wrap down, wax paper, whatever you have on hand. If you have leftover potato chip bags from the quarantine, you can put that down, whatever works to protect your table. Obviously, I'm not really worried about this. I got this at a Goodwill. All right, I'm going to finish gluing these together, and I'm going to keep them separated in piles just so that I know what's what, and I will come back and we will sew it together. Okay, I'm back. I have this needle and some thread. Now this technically is actually embroidery thread. This is the kind of stuff, like a crochet, I should say, crochet embroidery thread. It actually comes on a spool like this. You don't have to use this. This is just literally what I had sitting in front of me. I'm technically hoping that this works better than what I was going to use, which is regular thread, but I really think that either one should work. So I tied a knot in the end of it, and this is why I think it's going to work better, just that the knot is thicker. So if you're used to sewing, I don't know if you're like me, but I make like the world's biggest knot whenever I'm sewing with thread. So just do that with this. I'm actually going to cut off the tail here just so it's not so obvious. And again, I have never done this. So we are going to find out together if this is going to turn out what I'm hoping it turns out to be. I didn't use the long string because I figured I don't necessarily need it. I'm going to, hang it in the front window in my shop. But I am going to start with the smallest ones first, then the medium ones, and then the large ones. Simple as that. So we're going to do live, not sped up, whatever. I am going into like the ends of it, and the reason for that is because I'm hoping that will kind of offset it enough that it, or stagger it enough that it doesn't need the beads to like be separate from one another. And you don't have to do it like always in the same spot. You could do one like that and then one in the middle of the point, I should say. And that is giving it kind of the look I was hoping for. It just might seem like I may need more than just I guess if there's 3 piles of 8, then the 24 that I have here in front of me. So again, I'm gonna stagger this, offset this, whatever. I'm just hoping for the best results. It's already not the results I want, but that's okay. We're gonna keep working with it. This one will be up in the point. Maybe it would help more if I did one instead of being either here or here, if I have one off to the side over here. I don't know. We're learning. Not really. That's okay though. It still looks cute. It just looks like I would need probably like 3 times as much as I am using right now. But that's alright. I'll have this one go there. It definitely is at least giving it a little bit of volume. It's just not as much as I was hoping for, which is fine. I mean, the other way that I could do it is instead of, just letting them stack on top of each other, I could tie a knot after each one. So like if I wanted this to be up a little bit higher, I could tie myself a knot in here. If I don't let everything get all knotted up before I get to that point. And it doesn't have to be like, so much higher than the other ones. So close to the one below it because I don't want it to look super abnormal. Or do I? Alright, so now we have a knot there. It's not a huge knot, but it should still do the trick. So long as you don't pull, So long as you don't pull super tight on it, or super hard down that it would shove the paper through it, because once that paper's ripped, there we go. Yep, so it sits up a little bit higher that way. So that's how I'm going to do it from now on, now that I've learned my lesson after 7 tries. Which, again, that's fine. We're learning together. I don't even know if this is going to turn out cute, but we're hoping. And I am using only 3 different sizes of petals. So, I mean, it might look even better if you use, say, 6 different sizes. You know, who knows? Something to try in the future. Alright, so I got another knot. It's only about a ½ an inch up above that. I'm moving up to the medium-sized petals now. So that definitely does give me more of the, I guess, we're going to try it. We're going to keep moving on this and see if it works out. Okay. And maybe it doesn't have to even be that high up above the other ones. So this is what I was concerned about. Maybe there should be 2. I want it to, if you can see it this way, it was lined up with the other one that is in that same group. And I want it more where it's opposites or whatever, like that. Be careful with the needle too. Obviously. I mean, it should go without saying, but you never know. There we go. This is definitely kind of coming along. This is kind of what I was looking for. I should have done the knots down lower, but I'm getting my point across. I'm okay with that. Yeah, this is what I want, for the most part. I mean, it looks better when you're seeing it hanging, and I'm sure that you don't see that much from a bird's eye view there. Alright, I'm going to pause this so that you don't have to keep watching me do this, and I'll come back once I'm done. Okay, so I'm down to my last one. I'm tying the knot on. I figured that you wouldn't want to sit and watch that. I mean, that was time consuming. But I will say that it's not perfect, but it definitely ended up looking like what I was hoping it would look like. It's not perfect, but it's close enough. And that is good enough for me. So I'm sure you cannot see this. I'm going to lay this down on the table. You're going to see most of the string that way. That's what I mean by it's not perfect, because a lot of these petals have ended up flipping and kind of stacking on top of each other, when I was more hoping that it would be more like this. Like this. Okay. So it's really hard to see this way. I am going to give you all nightmares and show you my quarantine face so that you can actually see what this looks like hanging upright. I didn't even take the needle out of it yet, but here we go. All right, so hopefully this is something that you can see, but this is it hanging, and it definitely is more of what I wanted. So I'm going to try to make a bunch of these and have them all hanging up in my shop window, hopefully, in time for the quarantine to end. All right, well, it's rough with my setup that I got going on here. But anyway, thank you very much for following along, and I'm going to try to make another flower video for you guys to do with your kids, or just to do with yourself. All right, if you like it, share it. I appreciate it. Hopefully this won't take too long, but the most important part is that everybody is healthy and we try to beat this thing together. So stay safe, stay inside, stay healthy, stay hydrated.